During the night, the season's first frost settled upon the land. Cold air swept down from the north, across the forests and fields, bringing with it the first signs of winter. The grass has turned brown. Many trees have stopped growing. Some are covered with ice. Lakes and ponds have begun to freeze over. Soon it will snow. When winter comes and food becomes hard to find, many birds fly away from the cold north. From every lake and marsh, ducks and geese join up and flap their way through the sky, usually taking the same routes their parents and grandparents took, south toward warmer weather. Each fall, millions of birds migrate down the east coast of the United States, out across the Caribbean to South America. Many more go down the Mississippi River through Mexico, and still others fly down the west coast. Some stop off and spend the winter in California's Sacramento Valley, where it's warm and there is plenty of food. Far to the north, the animals that didn't or couldn't migrate are busy preparing for winter, each in its own way. These honeybees have found shelter in an old tree. The thick walls of the tree trunk will protect the delicate bees from cold winter winds. By the hundreds, honeybees swarm inside and set up housekeeping. They build a waxy comb and then fill it with honey. When it gets really cold outside, honeybees cluster together, eat the honey they have stored, and share each other's body warmth. As fall marches across the north, the days get shorter. The trees change color, from green to gold, yellow, red, and brown, and finally the leaves settle to the ground. Many animals rely on plants for food. In winter, when snow buries the forest floor, their food supply may be buried with it. That's why squirrels spend most of the fall rushing around, searching for nuts, stuffing their cheeks full, and then hiding their winter food supply in safe places. Food is the key to surviving winter. Animals that have enough food seem not to be bothered by the cold. But those animals that cannot store food must look long and hard for each meal. Finding food in the forest in winter can be difficult. Wild turkeys often come out of the trees, turning instead to farm fields to scratch out a living. They dig down through the snow to find grain left behind during harvesting. When a thick layer of snow covers most of their natural food, songbirds often flock to backyard bird feeders for a handout. Bird seed is a fuel that keeps these tiny animals alive in winter. They eat lots of seeds and then shiver to keep warm. Many little birds can't find enough to eat in winter. Some die. Not all animals find it difficult to survive the cold. The bison has little trouble finding food. Using its big head as a plow, a bison digs its way down through the snow, searching for grass. Bison have long legs and can wade through deep snowdrifts, going pretty much wherever they choose. Protected by a heavy winter coat, the bison seem not to be bothered by the freezing temperatures. In fact, most animals that stay in the north all winter seem to adjust to the temperature quite well. Mule deer have an especially warm winter coat made of hollow hair. This thick layer of winter protection holds warm air close to the deer's body and keeps rain and snow out. Some animals change color when they change coats. The snowshoe hare is brown in summer and white in winter. The winter coat helps the hare hide from predators, such as the lynx. The snowshoe gets its name from its feet. In winter, the snowshoe grows fur on its feet, and this fur helps it walk on top of the snow. In the mountains, winter can be especially harsh. The temperature drops well below zero. Winds howl through the leafless forests. When a thick snow cover blankets the ground, animals must work their way down through the snow to reach the grass. For some, the blanket of snow is just too deep, and they must find something else to eat. The elk eats tree bark and twigs in winter. Driven by deep snow and extreme cold, elk eventually abandon the high country. Just a few at first. Soon, herds of elk are on the move down to warmer valleys, where the snow is not so deep and food is easier to find. For many animals, deep snow is a problem. something to paw their way through. But for others, deep snow is a solution, a blanket to protect them from cold winter temperatures and wind. In fact, many animals could not survive the cold of winter without a blanket of snow. It's warmer below, and that's why there are more animals living beneath the snow in winter than on top.
It wasn't that cold last night.
Dr. Joe Merritt of the Powdermill Nature Reserve has spent most of his life studying the tiny animals that live beneath the snow. He uses live traps to capture mice, voles, flying squirrels, and shrews so that the animals do not get hurt.
We don't. So let's first we'll take a look and see what we have. As I said, that's kind of important to check. Okay, good. This is going to be the deer mouse.
Dr. Merritt counts and weighs the tiny animals and studies their behavior.
Up to, say, 6 and 7 in a nest. It's really nice and warm in there, and that helps in terms of how much food you have to eat in the winter when there's not a heck of a lot of food around.
And what do they make their nest out of?
Grasses and leaves, and sometimes they use...
For as long as there is snow on the ground, sometimes for half the year, mice, voles, and shrews race around in tunnels under the snow.
Actually, the deer mouse, it is number 47. You want to write this down, number 47. The station is D6.
While most animals are very active beneath the snow in winter, a few go there to sleep. Black bears spend much of the summer and fall eating and growing fat. And then, in winter, while sleeping in their dens, the fat helps to keep them warm. Fat may help keep the bear comfortable in winter, but many other animals cannot stay warm no matter what they do. When scuba divers go beneath the ice in a frigid Midwestern lake, they find that the fish are just as cold as the water. That's because their body temperature adjusts to the same temperature as the water. Dr. John Magnuson of the University of Wisconsin studies fish under the ice. He has found that cold water doesn't really hurt fish, they are used to it, but ice can sometimes kill them. If winter is so cold that a lake freezes all the way to the bottom, the fish will freeze too. If winter lasts so long that the layer of ice on top of the lake keeps air from mixing with the water, fish can run out of air to breathe. These mud minnows have a solution to the problem. They suck the air from tiny bubbles trapped under the ice. No matter how harsh or long the winter, warm weather returns and the ice breaks up. As the snow melts away, animals that have spent the winter deep underground feel the warmth of the spring sun and begin to work their way to the surface. Dr. Robert Mason of Oregon State University studies snakes. He's found many thousands of garter snakes in several dens in Manitoba, Canada. Garter snakes sleep all winter in these underground dens. The soil protects them from most of winter's cold. When spring comes, warm air finds its way down into the caves, and the snakes slowly wake up. Through every crack and hole in the ground, they wiggle to the surface. By the thousands, they crawl around, find each other, and mate. One by one, each snake slips away, back toward its summer home. The first warm days and nights of spring stimulate plants to grow. Buds burst and tender leaves unfold. As soon as there is something green to eat, insects begin to stir. A family of tent caterpillars hatches and works its way out from inside the protective webbing of its nest. Soon, flowers blossom on almost every tree and bush. The flyways become choked with birds on their way back to their summer homes in the north. Another long winter has come to an end.